USA, USA, USA. I got the dog hyped up too. Let's go. All right, folks. We are back at the Run the Seam show. We have a special episode here. We are joined by our good friend John, who was live at the Milan Olympic gold medal match. John, how you doing today?
Good, good. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Yep.
Of course, of course. And John, in the time that I've known you, there's never been a time when we haven't had a conversation about puck. You are what I like to describe as a perfect guy as a face of American puck fan. You know what I mean? So, can you give me like a little bit of your own background and your hockey passion playing into your adult life?
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up in Williamsburg, Virginia, like small little town, but there was a pro roller hockey team at the time. And it was one of those, it was a super small league. So like entrance tickets were like $3 or something, right? So I used to go a lot with my parents. And then I grew up as a Capitals fan, right? And like way back in the day, right? Yager, Peter Bondra, all
Yep.
those guys. And then kind of loosely kept up in, I went to college in the area. So I went to George Mason. So
Yep.
Caps then, that was like Ovi's early prime, right? He was, already doing 50 goals a season. And then moved away for a little while and came back and just immediately kind of got back, back heavy into hockey. But I love the sport. I mean, it's fast, there's hitting. It's a precision sport and a speed sport and a
That's
tough
right.
sport. It's awesome. And then if there's ever a big problem, you solve by fighting. It's great. Yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head of what I was about to say because hockey is far and wide, in my opinion, the most fun sport to watch live. It doesn't even come close to anything else, just, the rapid pace. And it's the only sport left where guys can still, well, I guess we just had a UFC episode, so this is a null point, but it's one of the only sports left where guys can stop play and the refs just let them duke it out. So I love that. Now, okay, we brought you on to talk about the game. So to start, I want us to I want you to paint a picture for us because a lot of what I saw online was like it was all Canada fans, nothing else. Is that accurate?
Okay, yeah, the final game, the gold medal game, it was the stadium inside was probably like 80% Canadian and
Damn.
20% American. I mean,
Okay.
my where it was me, one of my buddies, and then we were next to two other Americans. And then there might have been one or two others nearby, but the entire rest of our section above and below us was all Canada jerseys, right? Every single person. Definitely
No,
outnumbered. It definitely felt like a Canada home game for sure.
okay. Okay.
I got a
I go ahead,
tag
Kev.
along comment here. Was there any good banter from the
Yep.
Canadians? Any like good chants or anything? Something made you
I think
laugh?
there was a decent amount of back and forth probably in the first period. I think one side, like the side that we were on, there was a big like sitting down versus standing thing that kind of ended up turning into like a USA versus Canada. I guess
Uh,
there were some guys up in the front that just wanted to stand, and there's beers everywhere. Like I didn't mind
Of
either
course.
way, but it turned into kind of duking it out and yeah,
Wait, when you
set the
say
tone early. It
duking
set
it
the tone
out,
for the crowd early, and I
dude,
enjoyed
I
that.
love that. When you say duking it out, did we have crowd fights?
Do we have what?
Did we have crowd fights?
I didn't see anyone get ejected. I will say one of the early instigators that was a Canadian fan, and he had way too many beers, like
That
bless his
you
soul.
see,
But
we're
as
innocent.
soon as the overtime goal happened, he left immediately because me and my buddy were gonna yell at him afterwards, and we could like he was nowhere to be found.
Dude, that is just beautiful. Oh my God. And I'm like picturing it like the 20% American fans, and I know you, John, I know you guys were holding down the fort and just being as obnoxious as possible. And I love that. Um, but talking about the game itself, roster wise going into this game, it wasn't a secret, I don't think, that Canada had the upper leg like big time. You know what I mean? Um, So, as a hockey guy, what I want to know, because I kind of experience this myself every time we go to the Olympics, the U.S. hockey team has like not as big profile names. Outside of Helbiuk, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, our goalie. Outside of him, was there any player that really shocked you with how they performed, like in the Olympics overall or in this game?
I mean, obviously, like Jack Hughes with the winner, his that was a
Yep.
great shot. And then the guy that passed him the puck was Werenski. He had a lot of good like 50-50 battles, even outside of that. Um, and then I think One noticeable one, I don't know what he ended up with, like, goals and assists, but, Jack Eichel, from Las
Yeah,
Vegas, he was the center for the Kachuk brothers, and he was the guy on almost every time he was on the ice, he was the guy that got the puck into the zone, and he did it really well. And that's something when you especially when you're going against Canada, that's a tough thing to do, right? Getting it in the
right.
zone, getting out of your zone and into their zone is
Yeah.
like a big, like that's one of those, like, obscure hockey stats things that the more you can do that, the more opportunities you're gonna have. So I think Jack, he didn't have any I don't think he had any points in the final, and I don't even know about the semifinal, but I think he played great. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jack Eichel was kinda like one of the veteran, like, leaders well, I mean, relatively speaking for the team because there was a lot of younger guys on the squad, right?
Mhm. Yeah. I think, Eichel he might be 29 or 30 or so, and, I bet the average age of the team was maybe, what, 25? I think we viewed on the younger side for sure. Yeah.
Same age as us. Yep, that's right.
Mhm.
Right, everybody? Okay. Now, and kinda just piling off that point about, like, players, like, showing up. Matt Goldie, that first goal to start yeah, Matt Goldie, that first goal to start the pace was a thing of beauty. What was it that, like was there something in the air that we couldn't recapture like that early on, like success? Because the almost the entire rest of the game was played in Canada's offensive zone. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so even before the game, right? The I forget what the betting odds were, but it was probably like 55-45, which seems a little close, but I think Canada was just heavily favored, right? Like
Yeah. Yep.
this is it. Well, first of all, like, background on this Olympics. This was the first time in the Olympics since either 3 cycles or 4 cycles that NHL players would actually play. The last 2 at least, and maybe a third, the NHL kind of negotiates with players, and NHL players didn't play, right? Because guys get hurt. Crosby got hurt and bad, right?
Yes.
He's out for like a
Yes.
month. There was a guy in Switzerland that I forget what happened. I think it was an MCL or an ACL that he tore like mid game. So this was the first time that it's like best on best hockey,
Right.
and Canada, the team that they put together that's gonna go down as
Yeah.
one of the best all time.
Yeah.
It was a disgusting team, right? Their
It,
power play of, like, McDavid, McKinnon, Cale Makar, right? Like, Celebrini even, right? Best players in the world, right? Like, bar none. So, I think having that as the background, I think there was an expectation of, like, what happened in the 3rd period where it's just all Canada offense, right? And we didn't
yep.
do anything, right? We kept the puck out. Um,
Oh, I mean, and it was a thing of beauty. And so there's two questions I want to follow up with on that. First, you talking about like just getting the puck out. I started to get like really, really into the game after we killed that 5-on-3 penalty,
uh
like right to start it off. I started to hear some USA chants going. Did you start to feel the crowd shifting towards being a little bit more on the America side? Was it getting testy right at that point? And what was your immediate thought
I think
in the
you know
moment?
what? It's funny that 5-on-3 is like same reaction as the first US goal. Just utter disbelief of
Yep.
like, did we really just do that? Like, did we
It's amazing.
like I think there's coming into this game, Canada had scored on like they had some ridiculous power play stat. Like they had scored on like almost 50% or maybe more than 50%, which NHL average I think is like 20%, right? So just
Right.
crazy success rate on power play. And we had 5-on-3 for it was like a full minute 15 because that second penalty
Right.
happened like pretty soon after, and we killed that. And there was one, I forget who had it. I think maybe it was McDavid and Celebrini. There was one rush where it was like, man, nine times out of 10, they're scoring on that play, and just Helly stepped up and blocked it.
Oh my
It was
god, dude!
wild.
There's some
Yeah.
of its saves that I went back and watched the highlights before we hopped on this call, and I forgot like how insane they were in the moment because I was like, "There's no way that didn't go in. They're gonna call it a goal on the replay." And it's just like that one save where he reached back with his stick when
The
it was
one
wide
hand.
open. The
Yeah.
one hand, dude.
The
Oh
one
my
hand
god!
against the forward with 2 hands. Other
That's
guy,
right.
Canada
Yeah.
had a full 2 hands on the stick. That should have gone in. I don't know how it
I
didn't, like, to this
I don't
day.
know how he didn't. And like, and you were hearing like crossbars and everything. Some of it was luck, but some of it was definitely just Helly, just taking care of business. Now,
Mhm.
segue question for you on that because you're a hockey guy. Um, is there any other goalie, American or not, in the NHL who could have done what he did, in your opinion?
You know what? Actually, I'm probably a little torn on the Canada side. Canada played Bennington, who is with I think he's with St. Louis, but he's come up big in the past. He was the main goalie at the Four Nations tournament last year, and he played great. He
Gotcha.
played out of his mind. He had like fantastic tournament. The second goalie for Canada is the Caps goalie, Logan Thompson.
Okay.
And Logan, I think, put aside probably his record, right? Because the Caps have struggled on the road in particular this year. But Thompson, I think, is those three, Bennington, Helly, and Thompson, are probably the best three in the world right now. So
Yeah. And
I was a little surprised when Bennington played the full game, or I think Bennington played the semi as well, and then he played the final. And I was surprised Canada played him back to back and didn't throw Thompson in at least one.
were you there for more than just the championship game? Did you see the quarterfinals, the semifinals?
Yeah, so I caught a couple. So I caught USA versus Denmark, the one of the prelim games, and then I saw the bronze medal game that was Slovakia versus Finland. Finland won that 5-1 or 4-1. I think it was 5-1.
Okay.
And then the gold medal. So I caught those three games. Yeah.
Taking away the emotional factor behind, the gold game, was there a game that was more entertaining to watch, like, just as a hockey guy?
I wish I would have seen the women's final.
Good
And
answer.
that was on like
Great
a
answer.
Wednesday or a Thursday night, and it ended up being USA Canada again, like there. But that finish, I think, was probably crazier than the men because the US was down. I think we were down 1-0. They were down by
Okay.
one goal for sure. I think it was 1-0. And then Hillary Knight, who is like like the best US women's player of all time,
She went
tied it
off,
up
yeah.
with I don't like a minute to go or a minute 30 to go, like something super close. And then the goal that Megan Keller had in overtime is just one of the sickest hockey moves I've ever seen. She like dangled the puck around the defender from behind, crossed over, and then hit like a crazy angle backhand, and it just went in. Like it was just
Now,
one like that goal doesn't that shot doesn't go in like ever, but it went in that time, and the women won it overtime.
dude, and it really seems like Hillary Knight is like one of those transforming faces, like we saw with Caitlin Clark. All it takes is
Mhm.
one athlete to really turn it around. So, here's to hoping nothing but good stuff for women's hockey and what we can see in the future. Kev, I still got some more questions before we get into the celebration, but I want to turn it to you. What do you got?
Yeah, I had a question actually that just came to me. So, is there a WNHL?
There is yeah, it's the PWHL. So
PWHL. Okay.
it's I want to say there's 8 teams right now, but they've been selling out games. I actually went to they had so DC doesn't have a team, but
Okay.
there was an exhibition game or like one of the league games happened at Capital One, and I went to that and it sold out. I mean, they filled Capital One, but it was like New York versus Montreal, and I forget the team names because I they're not a DC
Of
team.
course. Right. Yeah.
But it was good hockey. I mean, the rules are a little different. You can't do open ice hits, but you can do board
Okay.
hits.
Okay.
So with that, part of like getting the puck into the offensive zone in the NHL is you got to be really careful because if you have the puck, you can just get annihilated, right? Guys can try and kill you.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
So if you take out the open ice hits, there's more of like a finesse and there are more like really close plays that happen where they don't have to worry about getting, hit from behind or taking a hit to the head from the side. So it's kind of a cool thing to watch. Yeah. But since they've been selling out, I think there's talks of if
I was
they're at
gonna
8
say.
teams now, they're trying to expand to like 12 or something.
Okay.
You think DC area would be top of that list for expansion?
It's got to be, yeah.
Yeah. It
It's got
has
to be
to be.
like up
Yeah.
there in talks. I mean, yeah, we have Mystic for women's basketball, and then the Spirit for women's soccer as well. So,
Yep.
like, yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, that's interesting what you said about more finesse. I feel the same way watching women's basketball. There's less
Mhm.
kind of just freak athleticism, like, and more of a kind of a strategic approach to it. So I feel like the coaching in women's basketball, you get almost a deeper knowledge of ball to like set those things up because you can't just have somebody jump from the free throw line and dunk it. So that's an interesting
Yeah.
parallel. Tyler, before you go, I have one other question on Helly, the goaltender, our goalie. Am I wrong, or did he have a bit of a reputation going into the game as not being super clutch? Is that something I
No,
misheard and
I
read
think
in
he's been pretty
comments?
top notch. I mean,
Okay.
he plays for the Jets, the Winnipeg
Mhm.
Jets.
Which
And
is amazing, I gotta say, that he's going back to fucking
yeah, going back to Canada,
I'll
right?
bleep it
Yeah.
out, I'll bleep it out,
Um,
and that he's going back to Canada. Didn't they, like, just start booing him unrelentlessly on the first game back or something?
I think there were a couple because Austin Matthews is the captain of Team USA and he plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Or
Right.
Brady Kachuk's with the Ottawa Senators.
Dude, I love that so much where it's like all of the American teams I can think of, we've only had Canadians and like all of our like starter players are back in Canada. Oh my God.
I mean, if I was
Oh,
Canadian, I would be like, just all-time low after after those
I'm
2
gonna
games.
get once we talk about the aftermath stuff. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but we will talk about that.
But I
One,
think one thing going back to Helly,
yes,
I think the Jets have had a tough year this year. And I don't know that they have much. I don't know. I don't follow them too closely, but I'm not sure what kind of like moves they made in the offseason or star power they have. But I know last season, yeah, they were either the top team in the league or at least like through three-quarters of the season, they were like clearly like the best team. And I think a
right.
big chunk of that was
Okay.
Helly.
Do they
I
have
mean, this year
McDavid? Am
tougher
I
season,
correct?
but yeah.
Do they have McDavid on the Jets? Am I thinking of a
No,
different
he's
team?
on the Oilers. Yeah.
That's one of the other
Yep.
Canada teams. Thank you very much for that. And then, okay, two things. What are your thoughts on the 3-on-3 overtime rule?
I mean, we won, so I like it.
That's I mean,
um,
that's the only answer.
I think it makes the game interesting. Um, it's like it's such a different play style because there's so much
Right.
more space. Like
Yeah.
it makes the rink so much bigger and it lets guys do more with the puck, right?
Yeah, and it
There's
makes it
like the
so it's,
average
like,
pull
less
time for the puck is
chippy
way
and all
longer.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, versus 5-on-5, there's like if you really watch the NHL, the players hold the puck for like a split second and then get it away. And it's very much a like pass go, pass go, pass go, right? Where, versus 3-on-3 overtime, Jack Hughes will have the puck for 5 full seconds, right? Which is like super long comparatively. So I think it's interesting. And I don't know, it's different. If you can't get 5-on-5 for 3 20-minute periods, then yeah, change it up. Get best 3-on-3. Like why not?
100%, dude, 100%. Um, okay. One other thing that I heard, and this was like, I think I heard it on Pardon My Take, where they were talking about how, like, a lot of these guys would much rather win the Stanley Cup than this. And, like, that was a consensus that I saw on, like, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. My thing, I'm like, the Stanley Cup happens every year. The US men's Olympics team has done it twice in the last 50. I think it's more like of a badge of honor to win the gold, but I want to hear your take on that.
I'm yeah, I don't know. I'm maybe 50-50 there.
Okay.
On the one hand, like I think the Stanley Cup is just more of like a grueling thing, right? Because you got to go through the playoff rounds and playoff NHL playoff hockey, especially coming out of
So
COVID.
much fun.
It's been
So much
very
fun.
clear that refs dial it back a little bit, so its playoffs are way more violent, right?
Yes.
So you have to like one, you have to survive, and two, you still have to win. So I think getting to the end of that and winning that's like a massive accomplishment. Um, but then on the other side, I heard, I think it was either the coach or one of the assistant coaches for the team, like looked up the stats. So the U.S. men won gold in it was 1960, 1980, and then 26. But 60 and 80, 60 there were 16 guys, and then in 1980 there were 20 guys. So prior to this game, there were 36 American men that had ever won Olympic gold
I,
in
that
history, right? So
exactly,
like that
man.
is like okay, like that's like pretty elite company and kind of a cool thing, yeah.
Right.
Um,
Oh my god,
yeah.
dude, it's so great. Okay, overtime goal happens by Jack Hughes. Paint us a picture, John. What was it like in the crowd? Just go off for a second.
So all right, so the craziest thing, if you watch the the entirety of the third period and then most of overtime, that was a one-sided game.
It was, yeah.
Canada was winning by far. They were the better team by far. It wasn't even close. I mean, it was almost like an NHL team playing a college team.
Damn.
And when the goal happened, the three best players in the world were on the ice, and they were all the Canada guys. It was Connor McDavid, Cale Makar, and Nathan MacKinnon. And the play that happened that set that up was Makar brought it out, or McDavid brought it out, and both of them took forward spots. Nathan dropped back to D, McKinnon dropped back to defense. Makar and McDavid both overextended themselves on the offensive zone because they had a halfway decent shot, like right before puck came out. It was left with McKinnon on D, and then our three. We put three ahead, so it was 3-on-1 basically. But McKinnon got to the puck first, and there was kind of a 50-50 with him and Werenski. And McKinnon is go back and forth between him and McDavid, who's the best player in the world. It's one of those guys.
Right,
Maybe it's McDavid by a hair, but it's really close. But Werenski won that 50-50 and got the pass off to Jack, and then Jack hit the perfect shot, and it went in. And coming from so like in game time, it was 20 minutes, and then whatever they scored like 2 minutes into overtime. But in like real time, it was like a full on hour because they did a break after the third period. It was an
oh,
hour
okay.
of Canada just dominating us, just straight up annihilating us in every way. Offense, defense didn't matter. And then all of a sudden, we get one mistake on offense from them. They lose a 50-50 on defense, and we set up an open shot, and it went in. And it was just like, I think, like, there, if you watch the replay of the game, you can actually kind of tell that the shot goes in, and then there's like a second or a second and a half pause because I think no one could believe it. Like I was there and I saw it happen, and it took me a second. I was just like, did we really just like is
Did
that
you and then you blacked out
being
completely,
over?
right?
Right? Like there's no penalty or anything. It's just that's we won gold.
Oh
You
So
my
said
god.
I
the
think
you
that was
said the
my
beers
initial
were
reaction, and then I screamed my head off for like 5 minutes straight.
Of course, dude. Did you stick around to like watch the team like celebrating and all that?
Yeah, I saw the ceremony. Yeah, so
Okay.
they did right after the game. They did. They handed out the silver medals and then to Canada and then the gold medals.
The second
To
place
the
team,
boys.
not the second place team that's not the best country in the world of
Yeah, yeah,
hockey.
yeah.
Yeah, we should clarify that. Um, but no, dude, I was watching the highlights of like the celebration and everything, like on the ice, and it was also just really touching seeing like the Johnny Hockey jerseys coming out. His kids were out there with the team and
Hmm.
everything. I thought that was just like one of those really wholesome moments, and just to like see them like they are like you said they're kids, a lot of them, like compared to us, and just like they've just accomplished this like life defining achievement that is going to carry them throughout the like Mike Eruzione was able to take his gold medal and turn it into an investment capital firm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so these guys are set up for life now. And it was just like one of those moments where I was just like, oh my God, we are going to be forgetting about this as Americans on Wednesday and talking about March Madness, but this is Canada's entire life. And we just took it for 4 years, and it was beautiful. And that takes me to my next point. Canadians online were the biggest softies following this game, dude. You learn to take a joke. That's all I gotta say. And then so I mean, John, when it comes to like all time like life experiences, how high would you rank just being there?
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, that's the coolest hockey game I've ever seen. That's the
Of course.
coolest sporting anything I've ever seen. Yeah,
So
I
it's
don't
the
know.
best.
I don't
So
know
it's
like
the best.
what would top that. I have a buddy who is I ran track in high school and college. I have a buddy who's still like grinding pretty hard. He's running professionally. So if he makes the next Olympics and medals or something, like maybe that would top it. But
Okay.
yeah,
And as we all know,
it was
like
pretty wild.
and as we all know on this panel, the only thing that can truly bring you joy in life is sport. So if it is the most joyous sport moment of your life, then it's the best moment of your life. That's just how it works like that. Um, okay. And then my last question, I'm not going to talk about the political stuff, because I've always believed that, sports are meant to be in away from politics, completely. But are you planning to go to the Flavor Flav women's hockey gold celebration that he is putting on?
Wait, I don't know. I haven't
Is
heard
that
about
in
that. What is it?
DC?
I don't know where it is. I was just,
Oh,
but that is an actual thing that Flavor Flav is trying to do, and I just remembered thinking to myself, bingo card for 2026, Flavor Flav being a champion for women's sports. I did not have that one. But no, I
in
mean,
Las Vegas. They're doing it in Las Vegas.
Okay.
That's we live in a funky time zone, man. We really do. But John, man, all I can say is I'm so jealous you got to be there. I think I told you I grew up playing hockey. I've migrated away from it, obviously, as I've gotten older, just because I got carried off the ice on a stretcher twice for fights going the wrong way. But that being said, like this kind of opportunity, it's a once in a lifetime thing, and I'm just so happy that you got to be there to enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate it. I mean, yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Next Olympics, we all got to go. Yeah. We got to
Dude, let's
figure
do
it
it.
out. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Wait,
Do we know where they are?
I have a question at
Uh,
the buzzer.
yeah,
How much
2030,
were
I think is France for the next
Okay.
winter.
2023 is
Yeah.
France? Yeah, I think so.
Or yeah,
Okay.
or
How much?
summer's in LA. I don't know how the basketball works, but I'm sure Team USA will put together a hell of a basketball team.
Maybe Canada will get us in basketball. That'll be their big.
That would be
Oh, I had one
hilarious.
question. How much were beers at the arena? How much do beers cost?
Uh okay, the beer thing was weird. Okay, so the only alcohol you could buy at the arena were mini Coronas. So it was like 8-ounce like
Yeah,
mini
the
bottles.
7.
Um and I want to say they weren't like that pricey. I want to say maybe one of them was like I don't know, 4 or 5 euros, something like
Oh,
that.
that's
It
not bad
wasn't
at all.
bad, yeah.
I was
Um
It's
expecting
crazy they
them to
were
say like
smaller
12.
though, because in America we go at sports games the bigger beers.
yeah,
So I
the
was
other way,
kind
right? Yeah,
of surprised.
The
Yeah.
Cap One Arena it's like 24-ounce beers.
Hmm.
So that was a little weird, but yeah.
The one thing I noticed when I went to Italy, they do the stuff in a lot smaller portions than we do.
Mhm.
They don't go for it like we do. But okay, now we're talking geopolitics. That's not what we want to be doing. y- Again, I'm just going to say, John, thanks for coming on. I hope that that the Capitals find all the success in the world. Oh, before we leave you, um, for the Stanley Cup, who's winning it this year? For me and Kev to put money on.
I mean, obviously the Caps are, but if somehow if they don't make the playoffs or if something happens, um, yeah, I don't know. Colorado probably
Okay,
is the favorite right now.
lock it in. Lock it in.
Yeah, they
All
got
right.
McCarr and McKinnon, and they're both just playing out of their minds. They're playing really well now. And if they're on the western side, eastern side, maybe Tampa Bay. Tampa's looking pretty good
Love
now.
me some
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Lightning. All
Yep.
right. Awesome. Well, hey, John, we appreciate you joining us, man. And hey, folks, we will see you next week after the brackets drop. March Madness is here. Boom. All right.